Hey, Wise Gamers. Let's tell the wise, your Wise Gamer. Today, we'll be going over dad gaming problem, dad gaming advice. Today, we're going to be talking about stigma, video games, dad gaming, gamer stigma, the stigma around video games, and maybe some possible solutions for that problem. So, just don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into our discussion, shall we, Wise Gamers? Hey Wise Gamers, it's your Wise Gamer Kill of the Wise. Today's video, so last week's video I did a dad gaming problem. I'll put the link in the description below and on the top of the screen so you can click it if you want to watch it. But dad gaming / gaming problems that we come across as gamers, right? Then today's video is about stigma about video games. So I'm going to ask you guys all a question. What's your biggest thing that you don't like people saying about video games? Mine is that it makes us lazy and violent and antisocial, right? Those are mine. What are yours? Put in the comments below and we'll see what we get. So the thing is, there's so many stigmas about video gaming and how they impact us as gamers. An example of the first stigma is violence. Like, video games create violence, right? And I get it. It's funny when someone is raging and they're throwing their controller at the screen, or they get so angry at the game they throw the controller at the screen, or they break their controller, or they break the TV. You've seen all those funny videos about that. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, that's no different than a fan of a sport getting angry that their team lost and punching the screen. We've seen those funny videos too. That doesn't come down to the game creating violence. It comes down to the person that's playing the game, that's making the decision to be violent. I rage. Have I broken a controller? Probably not, since I was 10, 11 years old. I'm now 32, going to be 33. Like, I haven't broken a controller in years. I get angry, I rage, I get frustrated, but I never break the controller. And I've played many games ever since I was a child. GTA, Tekken, you name the violent game, I've played it. And I'm an upstanding citizen. So I think the stigma that video games create violence and that they make people more violent is a media thing that they kind of hunch onto, and they've been hunching onto that since the 90s when games came out. And they started making the PlayStation, all these cool 3D enhanced game graphics. That's when it all kind of started, with that stigma about violence and that. But there's actually no evidence that playing video games make people more violent. So it's just like a narrative that's been created by news outlets and the media to have a bad saying about video games, but there's no actual facts or studies that show otherwise. All right, another stigma with video games is that people find it to be a waste of time, right? The perception is that we as gamers and we as people who play video games, we spend a lot of time doing so, right? And thus, we're not using our time wisely to do other things that those people deem worthy of their time. An example, there are people that are fitness freaks. There are people that love the gym, that think that gaming is wasteful compared to going to a gym, or wasteful compared to whatever their hobby is, going to a car meet, whatever. But in reality, it's not wasteful. It's a valuable activity for that person's mental psyche, right? A lot of people play video games to relax. I play video games to relax. I play games that make me rage, but in the end, I like that for the challenge, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Or another video, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how long this one goes. But that's kind of where it sits. It's a de-stressor. It's a relax. I personally use it to keep in touch with my family, right? There's a Pops and Hops series, right? I'll put the link up there, and I'll put the link in the description below so you can check it out. But I play with my nephew, and then my daughter and his daughter, me and him all play on YouTube. We all play a video because our daughters want to be YouTubers, but they're young, so there's ways around it. So I'll put the link in the description below for that too if you guys want to check out that video or those videos. But gaming helps me connect with my family and friends. I happen to live in the South Midwest, right? All my family live on East Coast Standard Time. So, no, and I never get to see them because, as you know, flying is super expensive. I don't know if you guys know, but flying is super expensive. So to fly where I live to the East Coast is a lot of money. So I don't have that quality. And then when I go there, you got other stuff to do because you're on vacation. You don't really get to sit down and spend time with them. But video games for me is a way to socialize and sit down and play with my friends and keep our bonds and get memories and enjoy our quality time together for that short burst of 2 or 3 hours that I play with them one day a week. I have a schedule that I keep. And I only play with my friends and family 2 times a week on competitive games where we're playing with what you call playing with the boys. So that's the thing. And I think that's the biggest pet peeve I have in mind, is that gaming's a waste of time, because it's not a waste of time. There's so many other things besides a waste of time. And I'm lucky enough that I have a spouse who understands that gaming is my de-stressor. I work hard all day and I want to come home sometimes and just sit down, turn my brain off of all the thoughts in my head, sit down and get lost in the gaming world. Just gets absorbed into the gaming world, and that de-stresses me. That makes me a better spouse for her and a better father for my daughter and a better friend and a better worker and a better all these things. So that stigma is probably the biggest one that bothers me. We have, I think, 2 more stigmas, and we're going to try getting some solutions for you guys, okay? So another stigma, right, is that it's pretty much having a bunch of negative consequences for gamers, right? A lot of gamers feel ashamed of their hobby. It makes them feel isolated from others. It makes it difficult for them to find a job. That's why a lot of gamers don't disclose that they play a lot of games, because people have these negative stigmas about them, that they're lazy and stuff like that. And it kind of makes it hard to get taken seriously in society. So then you get this kind of approach where you can't be open about gaming. You kind of got to feel the vibe and be like, oh, okay, these people like video games. I can talk about it now. Most of the time, we talk about video games to our friends or family or people that are close to us that kind of understand us. That way we don't get shunned on. Because then the second you tell people that you play video games, oh man, that's it's game over. It's like, they'll be like, oh, that's interesting, or oh, really? Huh. And right immediately in their head, they're right thinking like, oh, I shouldn't have hired him. He's lazy. This is going to be a bad experience. And that kind of impacts you. That kind of impacts you as a gamer and as a person. It makes you not want to share things. I don't think that's fair. Now, I personally don't care. I'll tell people whatever I want them to hear. I play video games. I even tell them I make a YouTube channel. I ain't ashamed of it. You got to be proud. But a lot of gamers aren't like that. They're not proud to be gamers. They're just like, oh, I don't want to tell people I play because whatever the stigma is around it, whatever they've been shunned on by their parents or old spouses and significant others that, shunned them for their behavior, kind of scarred them and made them not want to do those things. Like, I've known a lot of people have a bad relationship, and then that relationship kind of scars them to not want to play anymore. It's just the kind of stigma and the relationship that kind of happened. So now we're going to get into some of the positives and how we as gamers can kind of change the narrative on these stigmas of games, So if you made it this far, you're probably thinking, like, how do I as a gamer break these stigmas, right? One, it's educating people. Just educating people on the benefits of gaming, stress relief, relaxation, social interaction, even helping with PTSD and other things like that. Just showing that it's more positive and does more positive things than it does negative things, right? change the stereotypes, like letting them know that it's not a waste of time and that's a positive activity for you, and that it helps you be a better person. You're not trying to force your views on others, just trying to let them understand that there are positives to this behaviorism. But in order to do that, you have to be open with your gaming habits. You can't say that you play every day for 4 or 5 hours a day and that you go to sleep at 3 in the morning. That's going to make people view you as a typical gamer. You have to try to change the narrative. You got to try to talk about it. You got to change it and be like, hey, yeah, I play video games. I mean, I don't take it to the extreme where I play every day, 8 hours a day, but I do get on a couple days in the week to help me relax and de-stress. I do play 2 hours, an hour here, hour there. On the weekends, sometimes if I don't have anything planned, I play a little bit longer. I try to meet up with my friends on the weekends to play, those kind of things. And then if you have kids like me, when you have kids like when you have a kid like I do, it's showing them that, like, for an example, me, I make sure I get all my chores done before I sit down and video game. That way the house is clean, everything's taken care of, all my ducks are in a row. Then I sit down and game. And I trying to show my daughter that in order if you don't want to be interrupted while gaming and you want to have a positive impact in your day, you need to get all your chores done for the day before you can sit down and play video games. That's the rule of the house. That's what I abide by. So teaching her that is good. And then also I play video games with her. So we play, child-friendly games, but she also sees me play some violent games on her own when she's walking by to go to the bathroom or something. She's like, oh, what game are you playing? I'm like, oh, pause, too gory. But I mean, when she gets a little older, that's a conversation we can have. But talking openly about her with video games, about how, you have to set limits, you have to set boundaries, you have to create a schedule. Like, those are all positive things to do if you have a child and what to talk to them about. Because that's what's going to impact them later on in their life. That's what's going to break that mold and stigma around, because now you're educating the next generation of gamers on how to be positive in the thing. And then there's other things like getting involved in the community. A lot of gamers do charity games and play for charity events and donate money. A lot of streamers do that, so that kind of breaks that stigma. There's a bunch of different things you can do, but just you gotta remember it's a fine balance between showing them they're right and showing them they're wrong. If you're going to game every day, and you're going to game every day for 5 hours a day, then you're no better than the stigmas itself. And especially if you want to talk about it, like you want to brag, like, oh, I played, I didn't even get up off my chair all weekend because I was playing the newest game that came out. Like, those are wonderful moments, and those happen to us. And it happens to me too. Haven't in a while because I'm an adult. And I can't just sit down and game for 8 hours. I need to get all my stuff done. And then once everything's done, I have the ability to be like, okay, I can relax. I can just zone in and get in the zone and play for the next 4 to 5 hours and kind of just relax. But it's knowing that balance. It's being able to handle what you got to handle in order to get what you need to get. Like, if you work, it's knowing that I have work early tomorrow morning. I can't stay up till 3 in the morning playing this game, even though I really want to. I can't. So you know what? I'm gonna play a little bit, just so I can get enough relaxation, and I'm going to sleep. And then tomorrow when I come home from work, after I do what I gotta do, I'll play again. Because then what happens is you're like, oh, I'm gonna stay up. I can't put this game down. I can't end on a losing streak. I'm gonna let you know something. Sometimes ending on a losing streak is better than staying up all night, getting up early, and being a zombie the next day and being unproductive in your life. And that's a gaming decision. That's a decision that gamers, me, myself included, gamers in general, need to make that choice. Do I stay up late tonight and suffer tomorrow? Or do I just say, hey, I'm going to take the L. I played for my hour and a half. Let me put the game down. Let me go hang out with my spouse. Let me go hang out with my daughter. Let me go lay in bed and relax and get ready to go to sleep. Let me get ready for my day tomorrow. Those are all things that we have to do as gamers in order to break that mold, right? Because if I played video games every night till 3 in the morning and I woke up every day at 6:30, 7 o'clock, take my daughter to school, and then expect to be productive, go to work, come home, have proper communication skills with my spouse, have patience with my daughter because I'm excruciatingly tired, and then get on the game and play again till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, I would be looked at like a joke because I'm not balancing life. I'm not balancing the things I need to balance in order to have a happy general life, right? As gamers, that's what we need to do. We need to balance our life. So, thank you for stopping by. Tell your wise gamers office. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Stay wise. There'll be, just check out my other videos. I do one of these videos once a week. We're doing a Pops and Hops video will be released later on this week too. We'll be talking about why dads like playing RPGs and strategy games and action adventure games and stuff like that. We're gonna sit down, play Age of Wonders 3, almost like a podcast, and talk about it. So stay tuned for that. But in order to stay tuned for that, you gotta hit the subscribe button. So I'll catch you gamers and wise gamers and dad gamers later.